Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Watch This to Understand the Real Value of Happiness, Gaur Das. So the real value of happiness. Anyways, let's go and get started.
Of course, when we're talking about measurements, we're measuring in one way.
Yes.
Correct? So the data and the statistics would be in one space.
Yes.
So in that particular space, we would say we list here.
Yes.
If we start measuring basing some other yardstick as a yardstick of measurement, probably have a whole different statistics available to us. Nevertheless, having said that, I think I often say whether you drive a BMW or a Rolls Royce,
Neither one.
it's not the car that happiness, it's the journey. When the focus shifts overtly to the car than the journey, you're compromising with your experience. Car is important. A good car is great, no problem. But when your focus is overtly on that, you're compromising with your journey.
I'm just wondering if I were to ask him, like, what if the car is really bad, it stinks, smells, and it's very bumpy? I wonder if all of a sudden the car becomes survival of the journey, because I'm not saying all cars do that, of course, but there are cars. Maybe I'm emphasizing the car a little bit too much because he just said that. And it's like, no, I started thinking, it's like, what if you never wash your car and use that as your party car, and it's nasty, it smells, but you know what? And it's rough on the road, even on the smooth road.
I say often it's not an iPhone or a Samsung. It's the quality of your conversation on that phone that gives you that experience of happiness.
Correct.
But when your attention moves from the quality of conversations to the quality of your phone, overtly, you're kind of compromising with your experience. I often say that it's not the watch that, whether it's a Rolex or a Dassault or whatever it is, or a Giorgio Armani, whatever brand of Rado, or a Breitling, whatever watch you wear. I really don't think it's the watch that gives you that happiness. It's how you utilize that time on that watch that gives you that experience. But when your focus shifts from utilizing your time to your watch and flaunting that watch, I think we are compromising with our experience. I don't think it's the house that's made of bricks and cement that brings us the happiness, whether it's in Malabar Hill with the most fancy furnishings inside and a massive space. I think it's the quality of our relationships in that house and that brings us happiness. It's the home that brings us happiness. So it's not India or America or any place in the world. It's anybody who prioritizes things, achievements of things, and starts equating the quality of their life with those things,
Okay.
will definitely have a compromised standard of experience. Whereas those who prioritize the quality of their journey, the quality of their relation, and not saying the thing shouldn't be there. Absolutely not saying that. I'm just saying equating happiness to that
Is where the problem is.
is where the problem is. Because then, today, and it also comes from what's considered a social standard of being accepted as the social standard of being accepted as cool. Today you're not judged for you're not accepted for who you are. You're accepted for the car you drive, or the area you live in, or the class of an airplane that you fly on, and a flight that you fly on. So in a society where the standards of your success are so shallow, then the pressure to conform, that if I don't have this, if I'm not at this party, there's FOMO, the fear of missing out. I'm missing out on
FOMO is a
something.
big
Big thing. But who created it? A standard that we made, that this is what happiness means. Right? But if we understand that there are finer things that bring us happiness, these things have utility value. Let's use them. Use the best stuff, no problem. Use the best stuff. Who's saying you don't have a Rolls Royce? But if you think Rolls Royce makes you happy, I'm sorry. Have the fanciest house. Who says don't have it? But if you think it's the house that makes you happy, I'm not sure if bricks and cement can make me happy.
Absolutely.
Don't ascribe happiness value to something that only has utility value. So very interesting one here. Again, I was just kind of nitpicky right there, but I mean, of course, I don't know how to translate what I just said into something a little bit more meaningful, other than just it being just a little bit of a joke. Um, yeah, of course, I guess a lot of people, I don't know, maybe look for people who are rich, kind of like, oh, he drives a fancy car, he must have money. If I can be friends with him, we can do a lot of things together, like go to concerts or fly to whatever, or I can ride in his fancy car. But it could end up missing out on like good conversations, or maybe that person may be a good conversationist with you. Obviously, it's not the things that you necessarily have, but it's what you bring to the table as yourself, your personality, your attitude, because that that will be something that is how do I say that won't get old. And what I mean by that is if you buy you a new car, in a year's time it becomes old news. Now it's a last year's model, so it becomes old. Whereas you, as yourself, you're always going to be you. You'll always be the current generation or current gen whatever. You were made in 19 something, but you're always updating every day. That's really kind of funny to say. But yeah, you're always updating every day, and how you are, how you present yourself, will affect how people, whether they want to be around you or not, be your friends or not. That's where it's more important. Again, you can keep buying brand new cars every year, but good lord, that's a lot of things to buy, and eventually maybe someone won't like that. I mean, it's a Rolls Royce. Is that the right kind of car brand? And even maybe that current year one is not a good design. And all of a sudden switch to a BMW or whatever. I don't know, whatever a fancy car there is. And all of a sudden you bought a Rolls Royce, and it's like, oh, this is not good anymore. Let me buy this one or buy the other one or whatever. And that's the only thing that you're wanted for. It's your stuff and not you. Don't ascribe happiness to value. So don't get me wrong, he's saying that obviously, have those things. Not not necessarily a Rolls Royce or whatever. Honestly, all the brands he said is like, I don't see those at all, and most of those I don't even know. I have a cheap watch. I do have a pretty expensive phone though. But it was paid by my company, so half of it was paid by my company, so that's the only reason why I could afford it. And yeah, I buy essentially everything on a discount. Save money. I don't know what brand shirt this is. I know it's like $5. Pretty good price. Shorts, it's a starter. It used to be a really good brand back in the 90s, but now it's cheap. So yes, yes, and it actually is very interesting. I find value in utility as well. I have the saying function. What is it? Function over form. Function over form. And what that means is a car, for example. Rolls Royce is more of a form than a function. It functions the same, but a cheaper car can perform the same function. It may not have the form. And the reason why I have this saying is when you like, at least for me in my job, fixing computers, it's nice to have things easy access, easily to be interchangeable, than to say have wires all running together up this pipe and down this pipe and around this pipe and down this pipe to connect to the computer. All of a sudden, now that you have to replace a cable, you have to freaking find and strip it through that pipe, and then this pipe's like, oh wait, is this right? I have to start all over. Hold on, go back up this pipe and go down this pipe. So while my formation may not be perfect, what I do is I plug it in, coil it up, hang it there, and plug it into the computer. So he's like, okay, let me follow this. There's the coil, unplug. Boom. Function over form. Now don't get me wrong again. Form can be great. If you can have form and function, perfect. But I'd rather have function over form, for the most part. I may sacrifice some function for form, but it all depends. Highly unlikely, but it all depends. So this is kind of how I see it. Yeah, you can have all the fancy stuff in the world, but if you're a terrible person, you have a terrible attitude, or you have no great value within you, it's then essentially the only thing you provide is just your stuff, and that's it. You yourself are useless, because without your stuff, you'd be useless. So it seems a bit harsh, but it's kind of the truth. Hopefully, you provide value, and your stuff is just there to kind of as a bonus, I guess. Anyways, there's more action to watch this to understand the real value of happiness. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.